What's up guys, it's TS here. Today I'm covering how to create this Among Us thumbnail, and I've included all of the assets and the template for this thumbnail in the download link below, so if you want to just change the names or whatever. But to get started on this, we are just going to make a new document, 1920 by 1080, 72 RGB is fine, create. Once we have this, I'm going to go into the folders, and let's see what we have here. So let's see, we want to start with the backing, and I just have this one in here, put it in. It's all vector, so you can scale it up as much as you'd like and nothing will happen to it. Or it won't get blurry or anything, of course. So let's just scale it up and put it probably about there. I think that looks good. Move it up a little so no white's showing. Solid. Now what I want to do is use the gradient map on this. I'm just going to select it from the adjustments here. And what gradient map does is it essentially alters the colors that are under it. So as you can see, I have this one here, and it's using a green and white, but I actually want to switch this to more of a darker blue, or more of like a saturated blue like this. And then instead of white, I want to use like a really bright cyan, kind of like that. That's perfect. Now, the next thing we need is the cafeteria floor. So we go to floors, cafeteria. And my good friend JG Designs actually supported me with this cafeteria thing. So huge shout out to him. I really appreciate it. And he's actually helped me and give me critiques on this thumbnail. So thank you, Jay. I really appreciate you if you're watching this. But yeah, we're just going to grab the cafeteria, place it down. And I'm going to scale it up quite a bit here. There we are. And then I'm going to place it. I'm going to rasterize the layer. So then we can use perspective warp on it. And we're going to bring it in just like this. That should be good. And then I'm going to click the check mark and hit Control T again to transform. Turn this scale to size off, or the proportionate scaling, sorry. Put it like that so it looks a lot flatter. Like it's like an actual piece of ground. I think that looks good. I'm going to put it about 2/3 up, just like that. It doesn't have to be exact. So here's what the other one looks like. Here's what ours looks like so far. It's not too bad. Let me move this up a bit. Now for the players, we're going to go to the characters folder, and we want the alive one first. And I've also kind of categorized them into different things. So SVG is vector, and if you want to change them up, feel free. There we go. Let's use red. Since we're going to use PewDiePie's name, we'll grab the red one. Right off the hop, I can already tell I want to make it a little bit more vibrant just because it's a little too dark and it doesn't contrast enough with the black. So what I'm going to go is image, adjustments, hue and saturation, and then I'm going to go from this master to reds, turn the boost up just like this, or the saturation up, sorry, and the lightness up just like this. That looks good. Okay, now that we have him, I am going to add his name, so let's just go Pewds, and we'll make it red, just like the red on him. Oh, I don't think I selected it. There we go. Scale it up a bit. I'm just using Arial around it on the font, just because the game doesn't feel very like perfect, so Helvetica wouldn't really fit in like a straight font like that. So I kind of like this rounded font. It fits a little bit better. And on this, I'm just going to add a stroke, and I think that might be fine, maybe a bit more. And then I'm going to add an outer glow. Feel free to copy these settings. It's just at 100 opacity, 100 spread, so it's not like glowing like that. So I have this spread at 100. It's just kind of like an outline. So I can kind of have two outlines in one shape layer. And the outer glow sometimes messes up and makes it a little jagged. So what I'd recommend doing is not doing it that high. So just like that is probably fine. I mean, it's a thumbnail, so you're not really going to notice. Yeah, it looks good as long as it stands out. Now let's add toast. And let's go to the dead characters. And we'll use a PDF this time, doesn't really matter. And then we'll use a yellow, place them down, just like that. And now right off the hop, I can tell this yellow, I'm gonna have to change it. So I'm just going to use the wand with W on my keyboard, select this and this. I'm not gonna select this one because I want to make the highlight this yellow. So to start, I'm just going to make it probably around here. Hit G for the paint bucket tool, rasterize this layer, and then paint in here. I think that looks good. And I'm going to use the wand tool, select this highlight, select G, or no, sorry, select I, select this, select G, select this, Control D, and then I'm going to use the wand again, select this, I to select this, and then G to select this. Now the only thing I want to change on this now is use the wand tool, select this inner part, and make it a little bit darker, since it's the inside of him. It's like that, and then we can put that in there with G using the paint bucket tool. Okay, I think that looks good. Now we can add his name. Essentially what we can do is just copy PewDiePie's, maybe scale it down a bit. We might have to change the stroke size and a few other settings. I think that looks good. And then we can add Toast, make it white, and then change the stroke down. Since the stroke will be the same as it is on the PewDiePie, but the text is smaller, we should have it kind of scale accordingly. So maybe just like that. And then this can just be like that. And I think that looks cool, but I don't think it's enticing enough. So what I think we should add as well is the knife on PewDiePie to show that he actually killed him. So let's go to weapons and go to the knife. And we'll just bring it in like this, scale it down a little bit, scale it up from there. Put it like right there. And I'm just gonna move PewDiePie and his name and everything over by selecting it, holding Command or Control, as well as PewDiePie, the character, and the knife. And now you can just move it like that. Okay, so now that we have that moved, what I'm going to do is create the shadows behind the characters. So I'm just going to select the knife and select red, move the knife right down to red. Just since they're together, they might as well be there. And now I'm going to hit Command J to duplicate both of them at the same time, convert them to a smart object. And then I'm going to skew it just like that. And you'll see it's over top, so it looks kind of weird. But we're going to put it behind knife and red, and then put the color overlay on black. And then we are going to scale it without having the proportionate scaling on and move it down just like that. And now all we have to do is change the opacity. I'm going to hold Alt while selecting this section in between knife copy and cafeteria, just so it clips it to cafeteria. And I'm going to scale it down a little bit more, just like that. I think that looks decent. Now I'm going to select Toast's body, put it behind the yellow, do the same sort of skewing method we did before, and then click the check mark. And then scale it down without proportionate scaling. It's like, oh, I hit cancel, of course. So just like that. And now I'm going to copy the color overlay from the last one, which is just the black color overlay. If you want to do it again, feel free. And then that should copy the opacity as well, which is nice. And then we can move that down right where knife is and bond it to the cafeteria layer. And now if you want to get a little more creative with it, what you can do is maybe add some blood spots around yellow. And we can do that just by putting a new layer below the yellow, using the pen tool. We're kind of just creating like a little floor of blood here, just like that. And I'm going to fill it with a red, like that. And now maybe we want like a darker shadow, similar to how red has his darker shadow on him. To do that, I'm just going to add a color overlay and duplicate it. And then I'm going to bind it by holding the Alt and selecting the original one. And I'm just going to scale it up a bit and then put it maybe like right. Let's scale it up a bit more, maybe like that. It's a little bit blurry. I mean, what you can really do if you wanted to is create another new layer, use the pen tool again and kind of just follow the lines broadly. I mean, that should be fine really. And then we can just go fill path. I'm gonna hit color twice and then select this one, hit OK, then delete that, there we go. I'm just going to scale this up a bit more and maybe put it like right there. And then bind it onto the same one, holding Alt and selecting in between the layers. I'm just seeing what looks good there. Maybe if I do it like this a bit and warp it a little bit more. I think that's fine. Maybe if you want to erase some parts of it just to make it look a little more real. Oops, sorry, the hardness should be at 100 when erasing with the brush here. Just because it's more of a flat design. I'm just going to set the scale down so it doesn't look like a bunch of circles erase it as much. Of course, naturally, if you wanted to do this quicker, you could just use the pen tool again. Sort of make adjustments as necessary. And then maybe we want to have like little blood steps towards PewDiePie to indicate him as the killer a bit more. I'm going to go in the shapes here, select this bright red, and then put it down by him, just like that. Another one like this, and then select them both, convert to smart object, and then just skew them. And I'm going to scale them down a bit, just like that. Personally, I kind of prefer the simpler one without all this, but that's another route you could take it if you want. And I think that's the end of it. I'll include the link to all of these assets and everything in the description. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys want me to release more assets and more things, feel free to leave suggestions in the comments. And I might make another video with more assets and another template for you guys to use. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great day and peace out.